Dearly beloved, today is the 48th day of Great Lent. On this solemn Good Friday, we stand at the foot of the cross and reflect on a moment in history that defines not just the world's salvation, but also the deepest truths about our own human nature. We look upon the actions of Pilate, the Roman governor, and we remember the simple but significant gesture he made, washing his hands in front of the crowd, saying, "I am innocent of this man's blood. Look to it yourselves." Matthew 27:24. In that moment, Pilate believed he had freed himself from guilt. But the truth is this: washed hands are not always clean hands. The act of washing hands was a ritual in the ancient days, one that symbolized purity, the removal of guilt. It was also a sign of distancing oneself from something defiling, as when Pilate, in an act of political convenience, sought to distance himself from the unjust condemnation of an innocent man. But in truth, what Pilate did was not an act of purity, it was an act of evasion. Pilate knew deep down that Jesus had done nothing wrong. He questioned him, even asked, "What has he done?" John 18:38. He understood that Jesus was innocent of the charges brought against him. Yet, despite this knowledge, Pilate chose not to act. He chose not to take a stand for justice. Instead of using the authority entrusted to him to defend an innocent man, he sought the easy path, one that would satisfy the crowd, preserve his own position, and avoid the political fallout that would come from standing against the will of the people. This is where Pilate went wrong, and where we often go wrong too. We too, in our own lives, are faced with moments where we have the power to act, the moral duty to stand for what is right, and yet we choose the path of least resistance. We choose silence when we should speak. We choose indifference when we should care. And we choose convenience when we should stand firm for truth. Pilate thought that by washing his hands, he was absolving himself to blame. But in reality, his passivity made him just as complicit as those who shouted, "Crucify him." He didn't drive the nails, but his inaction allowed them to be driven deeper. Pilate's washed hands were not innocent. They paved the path to Calvary. Good Friday compels us to confront this reality. We cannot remain neutral when it comes to righteousness. Pilate's mistake was believing that neutrality was an option when the Son of God was suffering. There was no neutrality when Jesus was on trial. There was no room for moral indifference. Pilate had the authority to save Jesus, but instead of using his power to do what was right, he washed his hands and walked away, leaving Jesus to face the cross. Good Friday shatters our excuses. It challenges us to stop hiding behind basins of water, pretending that our silence absolves us. Pilate's decision shows us that when we remain silent, we too share in the guilt of what is wrong. As we reflect on this day, let us not be like Pilate, standing by and washing our hands. Let us choose to stand for what is right, even when it costs us. Let us be the voice for those who cannot speak, the hands that help the broken, and the heart that chooses justice over convenience. Have a blessed Good Friday. Eapen.